Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a DCS video. Today I'm gonna fly for the very first time with my Virpil collective damper mod on. I ordered the damper a month or two ago, and today it arrived. It was on back order, and I just checked today, and the damper mod is on back order again. So I guess it is a very popular product. The reason why I ordered the damper mod for the collective, Virpil collective, is that I like incredible, smooth, very easy to move controls. I define good controls as fingertip controls. If you can use just your fingertips to move the controls and the controls react precisely, I consider that good controls. I do not care which brand it is, how old it is, and how it is built. If I can achieve fingertip or precise and accurate fingertip controls, I consider that control a good control. I have flown with the Virpil collective for perhaps 2 years. I ordered the collective as soon as it got announced, so I have been flying many hours with it. I got used to it, but I was not 100% satisfied with it, how not sticky and not grindy, but you know, it's smooth, but it is not fingertip smooth. I watched the Nubifier review of it, and that review is highly, let's just say, not accurate. He claims that the collective movement is super smooth, but he claims that without even having any controls on the collective. As soon as you put a control or a handle on the collective, it gets nose heavy, if you want, and therefore you need to tighten the collective so much that to prevent it from descending by itself, it gets almost sticky and almost grindy. It is just not fingertip control smooth. And because the clutch you are tightening to adjust the smoothness is a fiber block or some kind of artificial material, it reacts actually to air humidity. I have a wood pellet stove, and when I turn that on, the humidity in the air in the room drops pretty much. So, and when I do not have that turned on, the humidity in the room of course goes up, and therefore the tightness of that clutch keeps changing according to the humidity. I live in Western Jutland in Denmark, and our average humidity is between 60 and 80%. In the winter it is much lower because there's less humidity in the air, and in the summer the humidity is much higher, and I live in a heavily forested area with marshland around me, so the humidity is very high, especially during the summer. So at least twice a month I need to adjust the tension on the clutch, and it got very annoying because you could not get that finger smooth movement. Therefore, as soon as Virpil announced the counterweight, or it's not a counterweight, it is more of a spring, coil spring, I believe it is called technically. I jumped on it and I ordered it, and today it arrived and I have installed it. It is very easy to install. There's three settings, or three what is called, settings, depending on how you have mounted the collective. Very easy to install, and it is, I have just adjusted the damper just roughly, and it is just absolutely super smooth. No grinding, no notching, no nothing. It is just absolutely super smooth. And I can adjust the collective with my fingertips. It is just so smooth. And if you ever see anyone make a review of the Virpil collective, whenever they say when you move it, it stays in position, they often say that, including Nubifier, that when you move it, the collective up and let go, it stays. Yes, because there's some physics in it that when you move it up, it stays. But without the damper mod, without getting a very hard and heavy collective, whenever you move it down and stop and release it, it will very likely descend slowly, because it is something to do with momentum and physics and so on. So it is very hard to understand how the collective is by watching a video, and we all also have different preferences for how smooth and tight or heavy we want our collective. I want them, as I said, finger smooth, and I want it to, whenever if I move the collective down, let go, to press a button or anything, I want that collective to stay there and do not move 1 millimeter, no matter how light the controls are. I have achieved that with the Virpil damper mod. So let's go for a flight. I have not flown a single minute with the damper mod on, so I may be very sensitive now because my brain has adapted to the more heavier and rougher collective. So, and the reason for flying is both that I got the damper mod in, and because the Royal Danish Air Force have practiced formation flying with our Fennec helicopters today in my area. They've flown around for about an hour, 2 helicopters. One, it must be wingman helicopter number 2 was back and to the right about the 4 or 5 o'clock, and a few hundred meters back. So yeah, let's go for flying. Waiting for the turbine to catch up. And fans on. Wow, that collective is smooth. Thanks to that mod, I have removed, I would say, 90–95% of the heaviness and stickiness. It is not absolutely perfect right now, but I'm sure in the following days I will be able to adjust it if not perfectly, then as close as perfect as possible. Where you feel the stickiness the most is when you're lowering the collective. The slower you lower your collective, the easier it is to feel stickiness and notchiness, if that is a word. I do not feel that now. Even if I lower my collective, stop, lower it, stop, lower it, stop, lower it, stop. No notchiness. It does not stick at all. It is just so smooth. Wow, that is a very nice product. Easy to install and give you so smooth collective controller. I keep saying that, but it is just so extremely important to have smooth fingertip controls, especially when flying helicopters, and especially on the collective. It is just like let's say you are driving in iRacing, going from a standard Logitech or standard Thrustmaster wheel to a Fanatec or Moser steering wheel. You are doing exactly the same things. You are turning right and turning left, but the feeling, the feedback, or the lack of feedback, and the amount of sensors, the accuracy and precision of the controls can make you a much better driver. Just as smooth controls, smooth collective can make you a much better rotor head helicopter pilot, because that control is so smooth. And I mentioned that the fiber block, or that block the clutch that you tighten to adjust the tension, I have loosened that up almost totally, so air humidity will not affect the collective as much as before, because less and less movement and tension is now on the fiber block. And I can let go and the collective stays. It does not move, and I can do that with almost no tension on the collective. It is so nice. That is just so smooth. Let's try to get into a hover. I love this module. This module is just, yes. That's a tree below me, yes. Close to VIS, I need to get out of the VIS. Just power out of it, get into clean air. Let my collective. I can now give much smaller inputs and therefore be much more accurate in my hover now that I do not have any stickiness or any notchiness. It is just so smooth. Again, fingertip smooth give you advantages of all the sensors and all the sensor points in the controls. The more sticky and heavy it is, the more you skip a sensor point. Let's say that the control read let's say 1000 sensors, or it has 1000 sensor points. If it is heavy, you are more likely to jump 2, 3, 4, 5 sensor points per movement. Therefore, you are much less accurate, because you're always over controlling, reacting, counteracting, because you jump on those points. The more fingertip control and fingertip sensitivity you have, the more you utilize each and every sensor point, and therefore the more accurate, precise and smooth you are. This is just so nice. If you are a rotor head, a helicopter pilot, no matter which module you're flying in DCS or Microsoft Flight Simulator, I highly recommend the Virpil counterweight or damper mod for the collective. See, I can make such small movement that the game cannot render that small movement. That is nice. Coming in for landing. Making sure to have engine RPM of at least 81. Catching VRS. Bit more collective. Bit more. Bit more. I can only highly recommend this mod, but in a few months I will give a more prolonged review, or a more tested review of the product, because this is, as I said, the very first flight. So it would be interesting to see the longevity of the mod, but the mod is, it is steel, aluminium, a bolt, a spring, and that is pretty much it. So there is nothing to wear out, there is nothing to calibrate, there is nothing to update firmware, nothing like that. There is nothing on that I can see that can break, go bad, or anyway, or in any way break in, let's say, 6 months or a year. So yeah, very nice product. But thank you for watching, and I'm sorry for that it took so long, but hey, that is me. I can never make short videos. So But thank you for watching.